Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. We will just give everybody a few more minutes to join here, and then we will get started. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rosalind Wade. I'll be running our webinar today. Our webinar today is talking about working from home while you work from home. So what we're going to look at today is PatentAdvisor. With PatentAdvisor, we're going to take a look at, just best tricks to help you. So first, I want to welcome you. We're looking at working with you while you're working from home as a series. So this is actually a three-part series. We are looking at PatentAdvisor today. We have another webinar with looking at Total Patent One and quick tips and tricks for you in Total Patent One. We also have one for Patent Site next week, and I believe we also have one for Patent Optimizer. So we know that many of you are working from home, and for many of you, this is new. We're going to, and we know it can be hard, but the good news is we are here to help. So while you're not in the office, we've decided to point out a few time-saving tips in PatentAdvisor to help you work from home and make it as seamless as possible. So our first tip, and let's take a look. I'm just in PatentAdvisor here. The first tip is actually going to be in Quick Pair. And something that I like to point out in Quick Pair that not everyone knows about is our application report. And so to get to the application report, you are going to just kind of put in your application, and I'll go ahead and hit search here, just like you normally would. And this icon right here is where you're going to find this application report. So it includes timeline information, guidebook information, and the nice thing about it is it actually comes out of PatentAdvisor. So you can send this to anyone. You can send it to a client. You can send it to a coworker. The person does not need to have access to PatentAdvisor to be able to see this report. So you would just click on this and it'll download. I have one open right here. So the first thing that you can see here, I have all of my application number. I even have my examiner listed here, my group and art unit. So that information is over here on the left. You do have your executive summary report, your statistics by examiner. So this is kind of the examiner's caseload, patented applications, abandoned, pending. Allowance rate. So you have your examiner allowance rate, art unit allowance rate, tech center allowance rate. You also have this information here about focusing on art unit. Over here you have more about the allowance rate, average time. So this gives you that timeline, the average time for the application, the examiner, and the art unit. Examiner office actions. So this is going to tell you the average number of office actions for this particular examiner, and then where your and their greatest number. And then here you can also see the office actions, the averages for the examiner, art unit. So there's just a lot of really helpful information here. We do have the examiner rejection analysis here. So this is all something that you can use to kind of help that prosecution strategy, let you know what appeals look like for this examiner. Is it helpful to make an appeal? Other things that you can see in here are the interview statistics. So this is something that you can share with your team and build a strategy on, is this examiner favorable when it comes to art unit, or excuse me, when it comes to your interviews. So that's kind of some of the information that you'll see in here. You do have the file wrapper here. So again, just really, really helpful information. And I think the most helpful thing about this report, as well as other reports, another report that we're going to see today, is that it does come out of PatentAdvisor. Super helpful. The second thing that we're going to take a look at, so we're actually going to go to home and we're going to jump over to Examiner. And in Examiner, we're going to look at a specific examiner. So I'm just going to pull this up. So for our Examiner report, the first thing that I want to touch on is ETA. So I don't know how many people are familiar with ETA. Let me just pull this up and we can take a look at this. So with our ETA, what we're looking at is estimated time allocation. And this is going to break down how favorable your examiner is. So we have 3 different categories for your examiner. We have green, yellow, and red. Green we're looking at as the most favorable examiner. So we're saying that their ETA is 0.1 to 2.5. What that is telling you is a high likelihood for short prosecution length. A reason we think that you'll have a short prosecution length is because this examiner has lots of experience and is granting over 150 applications per year on average. So that's letting you know if you have a green examiner, you do have that high likelihood that things are going to run quickly. The next examiner that we have is a yellow examiner. So this is a little bit less favorable than that green examiner. And what we're saying is that your ETA is going to be from 2.6 to 5.9. And what that is telling you is that there's going to be mediocre prosecution length, the examiner has average experience, and is granting between 15 to 150 applications per year on average. The last category is a red examiner. Red, ETA is 6+. And again, what that number is pointing to and what that color is pointing to is a high likelihood of long prosecution length. This is one of those reasons that you want to use that application report. You can use that and say, hey, I have a red examiner. Since I have a red examiner, I may need to change my prosecution strategy. If I go into this with this particular application, I see right off the bat I have a red examiner. I want to start looking at their statistics. I want to see what they look like with interviews. So will that help me? Do I want to run into that quickly? How do they do on appeals? Do I just want to kind of jump in with an appeal? So that's what these numbers can tell you, and the best ways to move around with your examiners. And with a red examiner, we're saying that they have less experience, and then they're actually only granting 15 applications per year on average. That's another reason you want to have that strategy and kind of hit the ground running there. So that's just a little bit about ETA. You can see I have my examiner statistics here, but again, I do have the ability to run that PDF report. Again, the great thing about this PDF report is that it comes right out of PatentAdvisor. So here's my examiner report. You can see that some of this is very similar to what we looked at with the application, but instead of focusing on the application, we're focusing on the examiner. And a lot of this is helpful because we're focusing not just on the filer's behavior, but on the examiner's behavior as well. So I can see my executive summary. I can see my examiner information here, allowance rate, average action times here. I can look at average office actions. So like I said, some of this is similar, but again, focusing on a different part of that application process. So we're focusing on the examiner rejection type analysis, appeals, information on their interviews. We can see that this particular examiner has a pretty good interview statistic there. They work well with with interviews. So that will take care of the examiner report. Again, super, super helpful. Next thing that we're going to take a look at, and this is going to be our final tip of the day, and then we'll open up for questions. We'll unmute everybody, so you can either ask me questions over the line, or you can always put in a question in the chat window. So the next thing is briefcases. So you probably know about briefcases. Briefcases is a way to kind of collect a group of applications, and you can run statistics on them. So we can run statistics over the portfolio, other custom sets of data using the briefcase. But a lot of people do not realize that your briefcase is shareable. The great thing about sharing your briefcase is that you'll be able to ensure that any other coworkers having access to that briefcase is always looking at the same data set. So you don't have to give them a search and have them run it and not know if they're looking at the exact same set of data that you are. So the easiest way to share your briefcases is right here. And your briefcases live in your home tab, but right here, add user. And you can click on that. And then you have the option to add your users here. So you can give them either read-only access or you can give them edit access. So the difference is with read-only, when you share that briefcase, they can see everything in that briefcase, but they cannot change the data that's in that briefcase. Edit access, they'll be able to see everything. They can edit anything that's needed. Once you do that, they will have the option to run those reports. So if I open up this one here, I can do a visual exploration, dashboard exploration. So I have all of these options here. Another option that you have, which is new when reporting, we have a few smart reports that we have added. The best one here, the newest one here is this benchmarking report, brand new. With this, you'll be able to do side-by-side comparisons, and you'll be able to look at prosecution performance for both law firms and corporations. So just so you know that's there. And we're just going to head home. All right, so what I'm going to do now is open up the floor for any questions that anyone has. We'll go ahead and do Q&A, and again, you will be unmuted here, so you can either ask me over the line or feel free to drop a question in the chat. All right, so one of the questions that have been asked, are all of these features that I showed today included in my subscription? Yes, absolutely. So anyone that has access to PatentAdvisor, you will have the option of being able to search in QuickPair and run that application report. An examiner, you will have access to both the examiner report as well as all of that great information for ETA. As I showed, and I'll just display this one more time. If for any reason after this call, maybe the information for ETA didn't quite make sense or you want to pull that again, right here under ETA, there's this little eye. If you hover over that and click more information, that is what will bring you to the sheet on ETA. And you can see it has more information here, kind of, again, that prosecution strategy. I know I'm saying it a lot, but that is kind of the bread and butter of PatentAdvisor. But again, we can give you a little bit of information here that's helpful on your prosecution strategy and more information down here. Next question that I have, the reports can the reports be downloaded, emailed to anyone, even if they don't have PatentAdvisor? So absolutely, with this application report and with this examiner report, they come right out of PatentAdvisor. So these exist as their own documents. You can download those. You can save those onto your computer. You can come back to those, and definitely you can share them via email. However, whatever type of tool you use, you absolutely can share these documents. What other questions do I have? All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining. Feel free to sign up for our Working With You While You Work From Home series tomorrow, which will cover Total Patent 1. And let's see here. And one other thing that I'd like to point out, just while I have you, we do have an amazing online help portal. So this is where you can find assistance for easy, stress-free experience. Our online portal can help you find a list of our webinars, updated training videos, downloadable documents that you can save onto your computer or print and keep handy. And that's kind of what we wanted to cover today. Any questions, feel free to, I'll hang out for about 5 minutes. For anyone that does have any questions, feel free to chat or just give me a shout on the line and I'll be happy to help you. If there are no other questions, thank you so much for joining and have a great day.